Hey art friends, I'm Allie and thanks for joining for Upside Down Image. So I'm trying to keep this just stick in the sand. We're just going to be looking at an image and flipping it upside down. So let's warm our brains up first. Let's take that piece of paper and let's fold it twice. So we're going to do once. Does it have to be perfect? No, because this is just warming it up. Okay, and now I've created 4 sections here. You could warm up by writing your name. Does your name use straight lines, angled lines, curved lines? You could write the word oils. Circle, straight line, dot, angled line, curved lines. All right, let's warm up by maybe drawing a little something. Grab a crayon or whatever you have, and let's make a triangle with this right angle right here. And then we're gonna connect that. So I have a long line, a short line, and then I'm gonna connect those 2 right there. And I'm gonna fill that in. It's not perfect, it's okay. Let's make another little triangle on here. You know what this is gonna be? This is gonna be our race car. So here's my windshield. And then here's my headrest back here for my driver. All right, now I'm going to use a Sharpie. I put a piece of paper underneath here to protect my surface. And I'm going to draw a dot right here. There's my race car driver. He's got his helmet on. Now, if I want to make this guy look like he's just driving along normal, then I could just do some wheels like this, okay? But I want to make this guy look like he's going fast. So I'm going to angle my wheels a little bit like this and make them more of an oval. Do you see that? And then let's use some of these straight lines coming out the back. Did you like those sound effects? And so do you see how I've made him look like he's going fast? Do a swordfish. In challenge A, my son is doing a fish this week. So straight line, and then I'm gonna connect it at the top, and I'm gonna fill this in, okay? Then I'm going to connect the bottom, like so. I'm going to put a triangle on the back here. So going out, down, and then connecting those, filling that in. Then I'm going to put another triangle here at the top, a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to do oh, you know what, I've got to get a fin down here as well. So let's give him a little fin down there. And then we're gonna do his long bill. With a straight line coming out, and then he's gotta be able to see. And so now we have a swordfish. And so you could do this, you could make it longer, but that's just taking our simple shapes and creating a fast race car and a swordfish. So let's get to our final project. For our upside down drawing, I grabbed some books off of our bookshelf, and I'm gonna be working today out of There's a Bird on Your Head. But go and look and see what you have on your shelf. Some picture books that you have that maybe you could copy. Because when we're doing upside down drawing, it's a technique where we're trying to draw an image that we typically see right side up, but we're flipping it upside down to help us draw what we see and not what we think we see. Because my brain tells me this is an elephant with a bird. But when I flip it upside down, I'm trying to trick my brain and saying, hey, no, what do I see right here? I see a circle, I see a line, I see a curved line. And so we're really focusing on those oil shapes when we're looking at things and not letting our brain say, I know what that is. So we spend a lot of time when we're doing art, like working on the left side of our brain. But when we're doing this exercise, we're gonna be exercising that right side of our brain. So taking this known picture, turning it upside down so that our brain doesn't say, that's a bird. We're like, no, no, no. Brain, look, that's just a simple circle. And I know how to draw a circle. So let's get started. And this was the other one I pulled off, which was Madeline. It has some great images in there as well that, well, one, there's a lot of symmetry in Madeline. I love that for like week 2. But you could take the girls and you could turn this upside down and look at the details of this and be like, hey, I see curved lines, dots, straight lines, and you could draw something like that. Let's go on to our final project. You know what? I'm just gonna use the printer paper today. I'm not gonna worry about the cardstock. I'm gonna use Sharpie, so I have another piece of paper underneath, and I'm gonna use crayon, so I don't have to use cardstock, but use what you have. I put this small sheet of paper beside here to kind of mimic the same size that we're gonna be working. And do you remember when we warmed up a few weeks ago with oils? And we took the paper and we folded it once, twice, 3 times. And it created 8 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 sections. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna use it as kind of like some guidelines. I'm gonna put it down beside here. You could have a parent help you do this if you want to have some guidelines on there. 1, 2, 3. So here's my line, 1, 2, and 3. I have 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I start to draw this, I'm going to notice how long this line goes down. See these straight lines here? And they go down to about number 1, okay? It's just to kind of help us plan on here. This is not, if it goes past that, that's okay. We are practicing. We are not Mo Williams and can draw Piggy just like that. But if we keep practicing, I think we can. And remember, tell your brain, this is not Piggy. This is not Piggy. This is simply oils. It is circles, lines, curved lines, angled lines, and dots. So if you're using printer paper, make sure to have a sheet underneath it if you're using marker. Let's start here at the top. Remember, we flipped it over and we're telling our brains this is the top. And I see 2 V's right here. You see these angled lines? And they then have these parallel lines that come from them and they stop about at the 1. Okay, there's my number 1. You don't have to write this on yours. I'm just doing this to help you see. If you do write it on yours, you could always go back and cut it off later if you don't want to have those guidelines on there. Okay, so I'm going to come down to my paper here and I'm going to do 2 V's. 1 V, skip a little space, 2 V's, and I'm going to draw them to about number 1. I see that in between there they are connected. And then I see these large curved lines. We're going to get the outside, the perimeter of our shapes here, and then we'll come inside and do the details. So I can see this curved line here comes below number 2. Do you see that? So here's number 2, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to draw this curved line and not come to 2. But if you go past 2, that's okay. Maybe your piggy just has a full belly today. All right, so it kind of goes out and swoops back in. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. See how these lines line up before they end? I'm going to slide my finger over and do the same thing on this side. Then I see we've got some curved lines here. Let's go ahead and do these angled lines so I know where to stop for these. So I can see that that comes to about number 3. Okay, and again, you don't have to have these lines on there, but this is just to kind of help us plan out. So kind of in between middle of 2 and 3, we have these angled lines. Again, those big V's. These were little V's, these are big V's. Look, they go from the middle of 2, not quite to 3. So I'm looking here and I see the little V and I'm like, oh, this big V is about in the same spot on my paper, but he comes from 2 to 3. And then we have another one with a larger space in between. And now we're going to connect that. You see how it's like a circle? I'm gonna jump over these V's so I don't draw the circle right there. Now at this point, if you would like to turn it over and then we can add the detail, you can. But they are just simple circles, dots, or little lines, I guess. So we have these little rainbows right here. See those? So let's put those on. And they are really close to this line that I just drew. With 3 little lines. Then we have, let's go ahead and do this big one right here, and then I'll have some room to put that in between, okay? So it does not go down into this big oval. And then I can put this circle here, or an oval, with 2 lines. 1, 2. And then we have some more V's right here. So here we have a little V with 2 curved lines, parallel curved lines. And then to make it look like it's behind it, we come down here and we're going to do another little V. Well, actually, you know what? It's more of an M right there because it's an M because those tiny little lines beside it. Then I'm going to come over here and line up those. All right, does anybody see something I may have forgotten? Look right down, up, look up right there. We've got a little curved line right there for the tail. Okay, so let's flip it over. And here we have Happy Little Piggy. Now, does mine look exactly like his? Does his look exactly the same every time he draws it, do you think? Probably not. So remember to put your name on it. If you want to give them some ground to stand on, you can. He doesn't actually typically draw any ground on his. So let's color this. We have 2 different shades here of pink. We have a light pink and a dark pink. You'll probably only have 1 pink in your crayons. To do that, we're gonna use a really light hand. For the nose, and then use a heavier hand for the body. And I'm using little strokes, and I'm focusing, staying on inside my black lines that I just drew, but if you don't, that's okay. So color Piggy, bring him to life, and you can see how you can draw probably many images that you may find in other books by simply turning it upside down and telling your brain, we're not looking at a pig, we're not looking at an elephant, we're looking at oils. See this side right here? I did a little highlight of that. So pick something in the book and you can even zoom in on it. For example, look right here. I just drew the top of Gerald's head and then I focused on those shapes. And we drew birds when we warmed up for week 1 with oils, which is very similar to what we did here. Thanks for joining me for the upside down drawing lesson today. Grab a book that you have on your shelf, or you could use this lesson as well, and look for those oils in the pictures. Don't let your brain see Piggy. Don't let your brain see birds or Gerald. Flip it upside down and look for those oils. Use the materials that you have on hand and have fun creating. And if you don't love the image, that's okay. Keep practicing. Let me show you some of my Piggies. They all look a little different. See? And then you add color and it just really brings it to life. So keep creating beauty. Thanks for joining.